Hey, it's Mike at digitalnomad.net, and I wanted to make a quick video here about just lessons learned, my financial lessons learned, something I can give to you as a 55-year young person, Mike Young, 55 years young, at digitalnomad.net. Thanks for watching. I've been through a lot, but first of all, know from me that I've never really worked a real job ever for more than a couple weeks at a time, ever. One time I've worked in a restaurant for a couple weeks. I worked at selling cars for a couple weeks. It seemed like, um, worked a summer job as a student for the federal government. They had summer jobs in the DC area, which was nice, but I slept a lot and read a lot of books. I don't know. I wouldn't even call that a real job. I wasn't supporting a household, but I've always had my own thing. I got this YouTube channel, so thanks for subscribing. It helps me out, a little bit financially. Appreciate that. And, I want to try to help all you out by just teaching you things that I've learned over time about finances. And, especially when you've raised kids, because I have raised kids. My wife, Denise, and I have both raised kids separately. We have adult children. We have grandchildren. At the recording of this video, my gosh, we have 5 grandchildren. Okay. So there's a lot of younger people out there, um, that I wish I could have some good financial influence over, which it's very hard to do. But it's harder to do, sometimes in person, believe it or not. But it's easier to do it now because of the internet, because of what you're watching me right here, and I'm thankful for that because I want to tell you what to do. Obviously, number one, you want to live below your means, okay? And um, that's number one. You're never going to be financially free. You're always going to be a wage slave if you live below your means. And I'd say the number one thing that is going to keep you from living below your means is either a car payment of any kind, meaning a lease, a fleece, a new car, a used car payment, although used car payments would be better, I suppose, um, or just the expensive habit like drugs of switching up vehicles. And when I say that, I'm somebody who drove the same car for 20 years before the engine blew up. All right, I drove a 1992 Honda Civic. It was brand new. It was $15,000. That was a lot of money. Although it was 4 doors, it had a 5-speed manual. I have to look around for that. I love those old 5-speed manuals or manual transmissions in general, and had anti-lock brakes, which is I could only get on that top end model. But I drove it for 20 years. So you think about it, I got my money out. That was less than $1,000 a year for the vehicle, and it had very, very little maintenance. It was a 90s Honda built in Japan. I mean, you know what I'm talking about. If you know, you know. So even though I'd say a new vehicle is the worst financial investment you could ever make. I mean, the worst. It's just going to drop like crazy. And now I will put a caveat in there. The Toyota Tacoma, anything up first generation, second generation, third gen, which is what I have. I have a 2016, especially with the V6. It's almost like I can get what I paid for that thing 10 years ago after putting 50,000 miles on it. It's insane. I never would have said that until recently. I think that because this is a side note, because Toyota got rid of their 6 cylinders in the Tacomas and V8s and the Tundras, they've just screwed themselves over. But still, I will still say new car is the worst financial decision you will ever make. And all these car things, vehicle things, this is what keeps the middle class, if there even is a middle class, stuck in the middle class and never allows you to become financially free, financially independent. That's what you want to do. You don't want to have to work if you don't want to. That way you can work a job that you actually like. I mean, you should find a job that pays well too. Don't get me wrong. If you're going to go to school, here's another facet. Okay. College is also another, um, something that gets in your way here of becoming financially free. Now that I'm recording this in 2025. Now, I started out college in 1988 and I didn't finish. And I was one of the few people that didn't. And I know even to this day, people are like, you didn't finish. But I think the younger generations get it. Gen Z, Gen Alpha, some of millennials. It's a raw deal. It's a bad deal. It's a scam. I actually, going back to cars, let me say one other thing about cars, just for your financial health. New cars are a scam. unless you're talking about all electric. And I can vouch for Tesla. I run the Tesla High Mileage Club at teslahighmilegeclub.com. I got the cars right over there. It's almost 340,000 miles. Original driveline, original motors, original battery pack, original windshield, original brakes. I have never changed any, oil. That's the way to go. But internal combustion engines, they're all scams now because you have to meet so many emissions controls, and you have to meet fuel economy standards that the engines aren't what you want. They're smaller, they're buzzier, they're turbocharged, they got all kinds of extra parts, and they all break. They all break, and it's all because of legislative mandates. So don't buy a new car. I'd say the last of the new cars happened probably when I got my Tundra, or no, I had a first-gen Tundra. That was a whole other issue. I got my third-gen Tacoma in 2016. That last generation, 2016, 17, 18, that was the end. Don't buy anything newer than that. Don't. If it's an internal combustion engine. Those days are gone. But college, okay, that's a scam. That's for the most part. Now, if you want to become a doctor, if you want to become a lawyer, you have to go. You have to get your degree. So go get them. And you're going to pay, but you're going to make boatloads of money. Just don't quit. Don't say you don't like your job later on. Make sure you know what you're doing. For everybody else, get on the internet. Look, I'm on the internet here. I'm making money off this channel. Thank you so much for subscribing. Thanks for being here as a viewer. And there's all these opportunities that didn't exist. It's one of the reasons why, in addition to the government printing money nonstop and causing and creating inflation, you have all these opportunities. So if you don't capitalize on your opportunities and become a producer rather than a consumer, the market is going to make it so that you can't become financially free. You've got to react to the market, and the market is all about opportunities. Everybody has opportunities these days. Everybody has opportunities. That's the thing. I mean, when I grew up in the 70s and 80s, if you weren't living in a certain geographic area, a certain neighborhood, you missed out on opportunities. You never would have these opportunities. It all depends on where you grew up, and it was unfair in a lot of ways. But now everybody has equal opportunities. They all have these devices. They're all carrying them around. Like I got one right here. I'm recording on one. I got another one. Do you like my, there, our picture of Denise and I. So you've got all these opportunities, and you've got to capitalize on them. You've got to at least try. You've got to get out there in the matrix where I am throwing this out right now and get your content out there. Get your ideas out there. Get your art out there. Get whatever you're doing. I don't even know, but you can distribute it to so many people nowadays. You can find things you'd never find before. It's just a whole excellent, best time to be alive scenario, even though inflation is run out of control. And that's why I'm saying, because inflation's run out of control, you got to be more careful than ever about your cars. They're more expensive than ever compared to wages. You got to be more careful than ever about your college degree. In fact, most people shouldn't go, if you ask me, should not go, unless you are a zero self-starter and you just want to be a worker drone. If you do, and you don't want to think for yourself, and you love those jobs, you got to love them, okay? Don't tell me later on you hate your job. Okay, what you really hate probably or don't like is the fact that you can't make any decisions for yourself. But if you give that away because you don't feel like you can make good decisions or you don't feel confident in your decisions, well, start planning early. Start doing this early. I actually encourage all parents to tell their kids to get on the internet, start finding something they like from the earliest age and start producing, not consuming. Most kids I see, or humans I see walking around like this with slaves to their screens all day long. You can't even in public, you can't get anybody's attention. Everybody's constantly screen zombies. You know what I'm saying? That's a problem. And yeah, we're in an attention economy. I hope I've got your attention here. We're in an attention economy, and that's what people are trying to do. That's what the reward is. Get your attention, get your money. And you could make it your own business of that too, by the way. You definitely could. So for my financial journey, getting back onto it, I started cutting grass when I was like 8 in 1978. Started doing landscape jobs. Eventually, my girlfriend got pregnant, and we decided to get married. Now, we're not married anymore, and there's various reasons for that. The bottom line is I didn't do a good job of planning, and I don't think I'm super picky about certain things, but I don't think that she, especially not in the state that I was in back in 1990, was interested in getting married to me, but she did, reluctantly. And that's not a good situation. The whole thing is a lack of planning. what, was I taught goal setting? Was I taught planning? This is things you need to teach your kids about, things that you can easily find actually nowadays on the internet. And actually, I've got a book called Live to 150. There's a chapter on goals and proper goal setting. Proper goal setting, very important. Anyway, got behind the 8 ball or whatever you call it with that decision. But it's okay. I went in the business. I was already in business with my landscape business. I just went into it full time. And that was 1990, and was able to support a household almost immediately. Got our own place in 92, got a couple new vehicles in 90, 91. Like I said, don't do that, but I did it. I don't know what I would have gotten as used, but I got a Toyota truck that worked really well for 10 years without any problems until I wrecked it because it didn't have ABS when I was towing. That's a whole other story. That's why I told you my Civic had ABS, the one I drove for 20 years. Definitely felt like that was a great technology back then, even though back then it was interesting, late 80s, early 90s, the car sales people said, you didn't need it. Oh, you don't need it. Oh, yeah. Well, you never need it. It's like you don't need a seatbelt till the moment before you're about to get into a collision. Same thing with the ABS, anti-lock brakes, but you absolutely need it. Well, thank God they're standard and everything nowadays. That's why I like my Tacoma I got in 2016, just a base model. But again, this has kept me back. All these cars have kept me back. Don't follow my lead, but do follow my lead of keeping vehicles for a long, long time. You need to have vehicles, so you might as well keep them forever. Okay. And the cheapest vehicle, by the way, that you can own is the one you already have. I don't care what the repair bills are. I don't care. Unless you didn't do your research and you bought an unreliable car. That's on you. That's a painful mistake, but you'll learn from that, hopefully. And all the cars I'd say I'd ever bought with my own money that were expensive have been the most reliable vehicles I could buy. Or at least I think I could buy. Like Tesla, I wasn't sure when I bought them. It turns out that they pretty much are the most reliable vehicles you could buy. Okay, I mean, things break on all your cars, but what's the driveline going to be like? That's the important part. And okay, so I started out, had that business, and accumulated a lot of money. I realized that in business, I realized that in the 90s, you could accumulate a lot of cash. Back then, it was pre-internet, so it's just like hard work. I'm in the United States. Everybody wants to be in the United States. Opportunities, hard work. I did that, and I accumulated a lot of money. I would say that before I was 30, I'd already had a net worth of in excess of $1 million, believe it or not. It didn't take that long. And I was buying new cars, but back then new cars were cheap, and I was holding on to them. Keep in mind, like I held on to that first pickup truck I used in my business for 10 years. Actually, we only had one vehicle for a while. Then I got the Civic as a second vehicle. Then I didn't want to get any more, but I can tell you, my ex had new car fever every couple of years. After about 2 or 3 years go by, it's time for a new one. And I know a lot of people are like that. I think maybe that's phasing out. Let me know what the younger generations, like, Gen Alpha, Gen Z. Maybe I think a lot of people don't even want to get their driver's licenses anymore, which is awesome, actually. If you can make, because we're getting into the sharing economy. My car will be able to get into the Tesla Robotaxi fleet, right? All your food can be delivered. Everything. It's a sharing economy. So you don't necessarily need these things anymore. And actually, if you don't, and you can live life without it, start living life without it, if that's what you can do. I mean, I travel for a living. Denise and I, we're constantly traveling, living out of the car half the year. But if you're not doing that, then don't even have a car. Why even bother? Work remotely. Live somewhere inexpensive. That's the new hack, too. I'm giving you a hack I did in the 90s. Buy cheap, reliable, Japanese-built. Both my cars were built in Japan. The Civic and the Toyota truck. That's all there was Toyota truck in 1990 when I bought that. And that was the way to go. Buy those and just hold on to them until they die. And that's what I did. And nowadays, we're in a different paradigm. It's so interesting to see how things have changed. I mean, also back in the 80s and 90s, people would pay for music, and the concerts would be so cheap if you ever go out to live music events. Now it's the other way around. Concerts are more expensive than ever, and nobody buys music. So that was the 90s. I mean, I accumulated a ton of money pre-internet, basically, because the internet was launched in 1997, and back then there was only dial-up, and nobody really knew what was going on until, all the stocks exploded at the end of the decade and then crashed after the year 2000, I think, or 2001, something like that. So Anyway, then we're out of that era now. We're out of the 90s. The 90s will never come back. It's the last real decade when you could pay attention to other people where they're not paying attention to their digital device. Wow, that sun is getting bright. It's trying to tell me, Mike, speed this process up. Okay. You got to get this video done with. But it's a long journey. Okay. So even though I'd already accumulated that much money, I didn't have a ton in retirement, and I was only 30 at the time. Okay, so you got a lot of life ahead of you. But anybody can do this. Keep in mind, anybody can do this even now. I'd say, because it's just possible. There's more opportunity than ever. The sky's the limit. There's more businesses being developed online, new ideas that can be implemented instantly. It just never used to be like that. But make sure you don't sit on the sidelines. Make sure you do something that's going to have a positive impact for future generations, going to solve problems. Like we're in the health optimization travel and events. Learn more at healthoptimizationtravel.org if you want to. We just don't want people to be sick. We want people to have fun. All right, well, fast forward. I lost half my money because I didn't have a prenup, but I guess it's okay. Didn't really enter the marriage with anything, and lost 50%, so it's down to like 500,000. Because I didn't really grow my money between 30 and 40 when I got separated. I spent a lot on different things. I guess I thought I had made it, but don't think that way. I mean, yeah, enjoy your money when you get it. And actually, when you get to $1 million of net worth, that's when you can start buying a new car. Okay. Don't buy one before that, because this is going to hold you back. Buy a really reliable used one if you even need one at all, and keep it forever and fix it. And do not have the terrible, terrible, expensive drug habit of getting new vehicles every couple of years. It's like the most expensive habit there is. So I didn't get too far between 30 and 40. Like I said, it kind of stagnated. I guess my relationship stagnated. My finances stagnated. I kept working my job. My spouse had gone through school during the 90s. She had a good paying job. So we had some good money coming in, but lifestyle creep, that's what happens. You start spending it all. You find new ways, innovative ways to spend all your money, and you don't accumulate. You don't build wealth. You want to build wealth, and you want to become financially free. So again, you can do what you want with your time. Yeah, you probably still want to work. You definitely want to. You want to have purpose. You want to have something to not drive you mentally insane, because you will. If you think you have no purpose, it'll happen automatically. And you don't want that, especially if you're a guy. You don't want that to happen. So I'd say when I got on my own by 39, 40, that's what I started doing. I started buckling down and cutting all my expenses. I did buy another new car in 2012 when I was 42, because that's when the Civic blew up, the 92 Civic. I lost the engine. At that point, almost 400,000 miles. You can get rid of it at that point, okay? You got your money out of it. And so I got a new car, I got a payment. Then I got the Tesla and the other trucks. My truck that I had to replace, the one that I wrecked, that lasted for 10 years, was a 1999, or 2000 was the first year, but I got it 99 Tundra. That was 16 years old. So after 16 years, if you need something to be super reliable, after 16 years, like I did, okay, get another one. Okay. But keep it for at least 15, 16 years, probably 20. 20s is better, or even beyond. Especially if you have like an aluminum body Tesla like I have, it may last even longer than that. It's not going to rust away necessarily, although aluminum still does corrode. All right, but what did I do? I buckled down. I was like, okay, now my income, the household income has been reduced by half. I got divorced. What am I going to do now? I figured, well, I'm just going to cut all my expenses. I was still dating people. I was in relationships, but I was acquiring real estate, because I was always felt like real estate was a thing, and my former spouse that I was married to wanted nothing to do with it. Wanted nothing to do with a lot of things that I wanted. I was actually very thankful that relationship ended, because I've always been concerned about my health, always been concerned about finances. I just want to have fun. And if you're not healthy and you don't have enough money, you're not going to have fun. If you're always trying to keep your head above water and you're a wage slave and you're chronically ill, that's not fun. And that's the average person. Come on. We all know this, especially 2025. I mean, it used to be, when I was born in 1970, about 60 to 65% of all medical costs in the US were due to non-communicable diseases. And now it's over 90. It's been at 90, I think, now for the last couple of years in the United States. And it's not getting any better. So everybody's miserable. we don't want you to be miserable. Just because you have money, I know you're watching this video because it's about my financial history, but just because you have money doesn't mean that you're going to be anything but miserable. Get your health taken care of. And like I said, learn about what we do with our nonprofit. A plantbaseddiet.org is our main site. So I got into that. Actually, that didn't happen until 2014. But I started accumulating a lot of real estate before that because I wanted to have a hedge against inflation. I wanted to diversify. Diversify is always a key thing with finances. My landscape business, I realized early on in the 90s that I needed to start diversifying. So, it was good that I was married to somebody that had a wage, but next thing you know, she's gone. And I don't have that anymore. So got to get money into, of course, S&P 500 index funds. Highly recommend those. Just set it and forget it. Just dump the money in, put it on automatic, and don't even look at it. You can buy some individual stocks if you really think that you are calling somebody early, but I wouldn't do any day trading. When I say calling early, I mean, like, I got into Tesla early, which I wish it was super early. It wasn't 2012 or 9 or whenever they did their IPO. It was 2018 when they were going bankrupt due to the Model 3 launch. And that was actually a good time because I think it went up 10x in the year, that was 2018. Yeah, 2020 was when it 10x'd. And I think there's still a lot more upside to that. So I did well with those. And, just mainly go with easy stuff. Real estate's not for you unless you have a lot of cash. That's what you need for rental properties, both commercial and residential. You need to have lots of cash available. You will go bankrupt or you will go illiquid. You will have to sell. You might go into foreclosure. Don't even get any mortgage loans if you can avoid it, I would say, on investment properties. It makes too much stress. If people don't pay, if you can't find good tenants, you're going to end up way overly stressed. So the best thing to do for most people is just simple S&P 500 index, set it and forget it, get into a retirement vehicle. Ideally, Roth IRA is the best of the IRAs from what I understand. I've got one of those, and eventually maybe shove everything you have into Roth IRAs because it's just the best way to go. Just keep it simple like that. But then for the diversification, I had to because I was in business. So I got into YouTube, obviously. I got into the rental property business. I'm a licensed real estate agent in North Carolina. If you're in the Raleigh area, look me up, okay? I'm there in the Raleigh area. And but I don't do too much business with buying and selling. It's just more for managing my own properties. And it gives you, if you're spending a lot of time hands-on like I am, it gives you a lot of great tax benefits too, especially if you have a large salary to offset. That's another benefit of real estate, is offsetting income when you have a large salary. Those are the people that pay the most in taxes, is the people that have large salaries, and you just don't want to do that. If you can avoid taxes, don't pay any more than you have to. That's all I have to say. Do it legally, but don't pay any more than you have to. So I got all these rental properties. They've been nice because what's happened recently is this forced inflation by money printing of the US government, and any kind of assets, any kind of fixed things, commodities have just skyrocketed, including your groceries, as you know. So get multiple streams of income, multiple sources. Like I said, for my landscape business, I wanted to do that because I can't physically do this work forever, and I don't want to. And what happens if I break an arm or a leg? Who's going to bring the money in? Nobody, because it's me. I'm like a race car driver. It's high risk. You don't want to. You want to diversify wherever you have that kind of risk. So I'd say, for the average person, time to rethink things, I guess. Get a prenup too. Get a custody prenup. I have another video about that on my channel. Even before you even think about having kids, trust me on this. It's the way you want to go. If you care about your kids, and I know you do, because those are the biggest battles, those custody battles, for your emotional standpoint anyway. And you don't want to have any more drama or turmoil or stress or anxiety or trauma than you need to. Believe me, that'll create trauma, having to go through a custody battle like that. I can see through my ears, that sunlight. You can probably see my blood. That's weird. All right. So again, financial. So I was all over the place, like I said, after I got divorced, because I realized I had to diversify, and I did, and it's worked out. It's worked out well. And it's allowed me to start up this nonprofit in 2014, help out other people on some big problem, which is health. Like I said, you all know health is a big, bad problem. And I also want to mention too that don't think that you have to exclusively do this in the United States. I say the American dream is dead. It's gone. It was always just more like a nightmare, if you ask me. And better to look at other countries, actually, if you can work remotely and do other things where you don't have to be in the United States. Now, if you have to, like I say, if you want to be a doctor, lawyer, and you have to do this, that, work for the US government, or I don't know, I guess so. If you really want to do that, make sure you really want to do it. Otherwise, look at other options that don't require going to college and where you can learn all this stuff as a kid and do stuff you really like to do because it's fun and earn money. That's what you want to do. That's the way the world's going. But just make sure you get the money saved and invested, not just saved. Don't develop that car switching habit. Don't even have a car if you can avoid it. Move to another country. Find other like-minded people. So many people who are young are realizing they're never going to be able to afford to buy a house in the US. And that you're not alone. Lots of other people. Get your friends together. Talk about this kind of stuff early, okay? If you're a parent, talk to your kids about this. I mean, it's not like they're going to be that far away. You got Starlink internet nowadays, okay? We have projects in Ecuador, and we're trying to build out stuff in Uganda as well. And it doesn't matter where you are anymore. The travel's easy. The travel's actually not that bad in terms of pricing, but the communications is even easier. Constant 24/7 video chatting, you know? You can do all this stuff. And you can learn, you can do new things. And keep in mind, I'd also say be careful about putting all of your wealth into one residence. Like, don't be house poor, but don't also be house rich, because that means, let's say you own a $500,000, $600,000 house that's paid off in cash. That money could be invested somewhere. And you don't feel like you have the freedom to just pack up and go anywhere because you think you'd never be able to afford it if you come back. So just be careful. Try to diversify in real estate too. Like, have multiple smaller houses, I'd say, rather than one large one. And by the way, think also that the average size of the US house is bigger than ever, and the average family is smaller than ever. We're below replacement rate. No one's even having kids anymore. So you just need a little shack. That's all you need. A little tiny house, maybe a couple tiny houses instead of one big one. Think like that. Think of diversification. Think of keeping your options open. I can't predict the future, but I do know that if you're diversified, even if one of these things is going south, I don't like to see it. South is great. I don't know why people use that. Or get you out of the woods. I'm in the woods. I love the woods. You know, it'll help out because you can't predict the future. I can't predict the future. That's why you want to scatter your money all over the place. Spread it out. Accumulate it as much as you can and put it to work for you. So you're earning money while you're sleeping, right? That's what you want to do. I mean, that's really the formula for financial success, I'd say, for anyone, especially in 2025. And, you know, this is the best time ever to be alive, best time ever to be starting out. You have so many options. Just don't narrow your focus to where it has to be so traditional and it has to be just like some made up American dream that wasn't really even that good to begin with. You know, I hear an airplane. Yeah, I do. We're way up here on the mountain ridge. I hear a propeller airplane. I don't know if you can hear it or not, but usually I don't hear any human-made sounds up here. Yeah. And you could even start flying an airplane if you want, but that's an expensive hobby. Don't get into that unless you're already financially free. You're already financially independent. You're already independently wealthy. That's the term, independently wealthy. When you're independently wealthy, you have enough assets, you have enough investments, you have enough money coming in where you can truly do what you want to do. Because the chances of you picking out some kind of profession in high school that you're going to love going forward are very small. I can tell you that from seeing all the people out there. And you can just tell from people's health. You think that if people really love what they're doing, they'd be in good health? No, I don't think so. I mean, well, yes, if they really love what they're doing, they're going to take care of their health because they love their lives so much. But if they don't like what they're doing, do you think they're going to be incentivized or motivated to take care of their health? No, they're not. So it all matters. It all kind of goes together. And just be aware. Have a plan. Set goals. Like I said, I got that chapter on goal setting. I'm going to link that down below, actually. It's a free book that I have. It's 150 chapters. One of them's on goal setting. That's the most important thing. Do this. You need to have your goals before a budget. You need to do it properly, not goals in your head. You need to document them, and you need to do it in a proper way, and that's what I describe in my book. There's many ways to do it that will work. I know that the way I'm going to give you will work. And I appreciate you watching this video, especially if you're younger, because I'm trying to give some wisdom here in terms of what to do with your life and how to run it, because this kind of stuff is not taught in schools. You're set up to fail, and it doesn't need to be that way, especially in this age of information everywhere. Just focus your attention on the important information. You can also budget in some time and a goal for goofing off every day for a certain amount of time. But you also need a budget or have a goal for time every day for you to keep learning about how to better yourself and how to just keep an open mind, keep learning, keep improving. And you're not going to have any problem, because the system is as dysfunctional as it is, rewards people like that. The people that don't get rewarded are the people that get stuck and kind of follow along those channels and grooves in the system that they've set up for you. So I guess I just said that in a way the system could be good, which is amazing, because I usually say that every system that's out there, every part of it that humans have designed is degenerative. And we can make them regenerative. And that's what we want to do with your finances, with your health, with life. And hopefully this is giving you all some kind of hope. And maybe it's put some questions into your mind. If you have questions or thoughts, observations about what I've said, please put them down below in the comments. And I will see you in the next video. Bye-bye.